Alright, hey guys, how you guys, everyone doing today? Today I wanted to do some testing with some new slugs we're making. These are 24 grains, 24.2 grain flatbacks. These have been testing really good out of the Dreamline so far. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to get over to the 100-yard range because we've got some stuff going on over there. So as soon as that's available, we'll get over there and do some video over there as well. So right now we're just back to 50-yard. We're going to do some crony testing, and just wanted to share a couple things with you. So some changes on the setup. I got my Eagle Vision camera mount. So it's still the same camera. It's the Casio Exelum EXZR 700, but now fitted to the Eagle Vision side cam mount. This has the 75-25 reflector in it to give better video quality. And I had to change scopes because it mounted okay to my Athlon Argos, but because of the battery housing, it wouldn't slide all the way forward, and the eye relief was too far for me to actually look through it and get a clear picture. But it did mount to it. It was just an eye relief issue. So I was kind of had figured that something was going to be funky with that scope because of that little battery housing on the rear ocular bell there. But this works really good. I've got it on the Hawk Sidewinder first focal plane. This is a 4 to 16 power, I believe. But that's a nice scope. It's got brighter glass than the Athlon scope did, but I liked the reticle a little bit more on the Athlon scope. Not to say that this reticle is bad by any means. It just had more hold points, with a little finer detail. But anyway, enough about that. The other thing I did that I'm really excited about is I made my own barrel band. Let's see if I can get a good shot of this here. It's almost hard to see because I made it really skinny. I 3D printed this, and basically I fitted it as snug as I could possibly get it to the barrel, and then did the same thing on the air cylinder, and made a little relief here to where I could clamp it together and bolt it. I tried a few different methods of doing it. I was trying to just see if I could get like a friction fit so there'd be no screws and nothing on it. It'd be real low profile. The only issue I ran into with that is that if you did bump it, it stayed bumped over. It was tight enough to keep the barrel out of position and not go back to its relaxed position, and it was too easy to move. So I decided that something needed to be clamped to give it good tension on the barrel, on the air cylinder, so that the barrel would stay fixed in place. I took my time and made sure that the gap inside of here was the same as the gap at the back on the breech here. So it's a pretty straight line right now. The barrel's pretty much perfectly level. And I've been having really good results. This took care of a lot of my shifting or changing floating POI issues. Today was the first day that I've come home from work and picked my gun up and hit like a dead center bullseye without having to re-zero the gun. Seems like just about every time I pick it up, it needs some type of fine tuning. Not that it's horribly off, but it's not shooting the exact same spot. And shooting with slugs, I noticed that it would tend to drift. Shoot 10 shots in one spot and the next 10 shots in a different spot. And I wasn't sure if that was just purely harmonics or if my barrel wasn't resetting in the same position over multiple shots and it was progressively changing its rest position. So this takes care of that. There's literally like no wobble in this at all anymore. It's really solid. Liking that a lot. Let's see here, what else? So I turned my reg up a little bit. We're about maybe 155 right now. For those of you guys who haven't watched my other videos, this is one of the other things I changed on this gun is the air gauge. Let's see if you guys can see that. So 155. This is a Wika air gauge. I got this from Huma Air. And I basically replaced this because I didn't like the factory gauge. It's really difficult to tell exactly what your reg pressure was. And since I wanted to know exactly what my reg pressure was, I opted to change gauges. The other thing was there was a discrepancy between the regulator gauge and the air cylinder gauge. They didn't seem to coincide. And sure enough, when I changed this, my stock gauge was off by about 10, on average 10 bar, but sometimes it'd be off by as much as 15 bar. And so I didn't like that. It really made it difficult to know, is the regulator creeping or doing something funky, or is it just, you know, what's really happening? And since so much of tuning and shooting is really understanding what your rifle's doing, to understand what your ammo's doing, I felt like that was something I wanted to address. So digging that as an addition. So like normal, we got the chronograph set up here. Got mag full of 24.2 grain flatback slugs, and these have been shooting really well out of the Dreamline. I got it tuned. I can tune this up hotter. I'll show you guys some max speed at what the reg's set at right now with the hammer spring tension and everything. But I've been getting the best results at around 870-ish, and they've been shooting really, really well. So we'll see if we can get some stuff on footage, on camera real quick, and I'll do a shot string. So I haven't done this yet. Yeah. So I just freshly filled the gun up. You guys can see the gauge there. Alright, so we're at a full tank on the gun. I'll shoot it full 18 shots. We'll review the chronograph data, and I'll show you guys the groups that we're getting downrange, as well as the power output and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm not going to do a clay block test on these just because they're close enough in weight and it's the same die for the nose. These should expand pretty much the same as the 23 grainers. So I'm going to go ahead and get in position here. Get the camera turned on. By the way, I am really digging this this camera mount. Definitely beats the hell out of my previous camera mount. So get that loaded. Alright, so this isn't a completely fresh target, but it's not super used either. Alright, get this thing focused in here. Out there, we're good. Alright. So that's on max. I forgot to change my power setting. So 926 is my top speed with the 24 grain. I'm going to go ahead and click this back to, I think this is the C setting, which is where I'm shooting about 870.
874. 883. 884.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and stop there. I forgot to count my shots. We'll do another group on the next hammer spring setting up. We'll see how that, if that changes the groups, what it does to the groups. That's a big part of tuning. And I'm still experimenting with this barrel band. This is the first day I've actually had this on here and done some, full round of testing. By the time this got off the 3D printer yesterday and I got everything fitted to it, it was already, the sun was going down, it was too late to film anything and or really shoot much. So I'm still experimenting to see how well this is working, but so far my results have been really good. So we'll crank it up to, this should be the B power setting, and we'll shoot another group. Alright, so that's doing pretty good right there. Shooting about the same size, maybe even just a touch smaller. I didn't fire quite as many shots, but they're grouping pretty well, and I like that speed. So I'm half tempted to go run down there and throw a couple paintballs up and whack a couple paintballs, because I think every one of them shots would have hit a paintball, honestly. So we're getting really good results. I'm going to go ahead and finish out this magazine just to give you guys a shot string, and I think that'll pretty much be about it. We'll do some more testing with this barrel band. I'm also making another barrel band for the crown, because my uncle's crown was, once you get to start to add the power with the heavier bullets, the way the inertia acts in the barrel of accelerating the bullet in two directions simultaneously, which is forward horizontally and then also spinning. It's accelerating the projectile in a circular motion as well. And so I think that all those forces combined were just a little much for the way that this barrel's made, possibly. It didn't have that problem shooting pellets. It was only when I started shooting slugs that I started noticing, the real bad POI shift. So that's the whole point behind this barrel band, and just to keep it fixed so it's not clinking around and doing goofy things. And hopefully you can case your gun, pull it out, and still hit a bullseye, or at least relatively close to it, instead of having a 2-inch POI shift. So I think I'm going to run down there and set a paintball up or two and see if I can't knock it down. Alright, we'll be right back. Alright, just ran down there. We got some little, I think these are the 50 cal paintballs. So these are 1/2 inch. I'm set down there, I got 3 of them at 50 yards. Got more than 3 shots left. See if we can't get it done in 3 shots. I'm going to shoot it over the chronograph just to fill out the shot string. Oh, breathing. It is too hot out. All right. Ooh.
905.
Come on, can we do it? Oh, I'm shooting just over the top of it. Of course, every time you try and do something on camera, trying to show off. There we go.
903.
Oh, that's the last one. Alright. So, we're still on the regulator. That was a full 18 shot magazine. Let's see where we are at air wise. So shooting at that power, I don't know if you guys can see that. So we're at about 185 bar dead on. Go ahead and turn this camera off here. So, let's take a look at our shot string. Oops. Alright. So, pretty flat altogether. So this was our first shot on maximum. That had a velocity of 926. Then we turned it down to the C setting, where we were averaging out right around 877, the high of 884 on the C setting. Then we stepped it up to the B setting, which started yielding 914 to 903. And so basically, one thing that this indicates, if my max was basically 930, my hammer spring's probably a little high for my reg pressure, but it does good on shooting heavier slugs. Like I was pushing a 29.6 grain boat tail at 850 on max with this setting, with this current tune, which is like 7 more foot-pounds of energy. So that was pretty good. Fairly consistent. I haven't done a whole lot of specific tuning to this yet. Just been kind of, playing with the reg pressure. Next I'll go through the hammer spring and see if I can't tune it down or get it tuned a little bit better. But right now I think the results are doing pretty good. You guys can be the judge of that yourself. Although it did take me a few more shots than I thought I was going to whack that paintball. But what can you do? There is a slight breeze out, so I'm going to blame it on that. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to try and get some more videos out as soon as I can. Do some heavier slug tests with the impact, because I know everybody that's shooting the impact is typically shooting these heavier slugs. We've had a lot of sales for boat tails, and so I will need to put together a video and get the impact tuned up for some of the 30 grain boat tails and stuff like that, and put a video out on that next, I think. And maybe a actual tuning video of how we go through and tune these videos, or tune the guns. I think I threw away my targets, my extra targets, but what we'll do is we'll basically go through the grid and just pick, 2 lines that intersect on the target, fire a 3-shot group, make some small adjustments to, one aspect of the gun at a time, fire another 3-shot group, measure the difference, and keep going and see what makes positive or negative changes for each slug. And then, once we got it where we think it should do good at long range, we'll go out and test it at long range. And I'll try and get some of that on video for you guys. And pretty soon we're going to go out to another property where we should have a chance to do some like 200-yard plus shots, and hopefully some hunting. So anyway, that's the Dreamline update for now. And we've gotten a lot of questions, what's the best slugs for the Dreamline? My personal best performers were the 21.5 dish base, and the 23 flatbacks, the 23 dish backs, and these 24s all shot really well. Just about everything up into 25 grains has shot really well. All of our slugs right now are in 217 caliber. So that's what we're messing around with. We can't go too much lighter than 21.5. That's about the lightest we can go in the dish base. We can go a touch lighter in the cut base. And for the flatbacks, I think 22.5 is pretty much the lightest that we can press out with the current die that we have. We have a few more dies coming, and we should be able to expand our selection, at some point in the near future. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, preliminary test with the barrel band works really well. I did try out the barrel band that was for sale at Ohio Air Guns, and I just couldn't bring myself to leave it on the gun. It was just too chunky and big, and I didn't like the screws. So I made this, and this is much smaller, lower profile. Sorry guys, I'm sweating bullets. It's like 95 degrees with like 100% humidity out right now. And this is working really, really well. The other thing that I noticed with that other barrel band that I bought was it didn't seem to actually clamp down. Like, it got tighter, but it didn't get tight. Whereas this thing is tight. I mean, there ain't no moving that. It's on there. So anyway, I might be putting these on eBay at some point. I'm gonna fiddle with it a little bit more and make sure that it is what I want it to be before I start trying to sell them or whatever. But if you guys are interested in one and you want one, or you think it's the dumbest thing you've ever seen, whatever, let me know. I might be able to get you one. So, alright guys, happy shooting, stay safe. Hope everybody's having good results with their stuff, and leave me some comments and I'll get back to you. Alright, have a good one guys.